Hi Cousin Donald, how are you going? Well, I've just made you the most famous international president ever. This is Infallible Arch and the Aussie School Team 6 with their combined thoughts on what to do in the future. Now, we're going to talk about one thing only. From television, from everything your commentators say, the inner cities of the US and some of your deprived rural communities are in terrible shape. Now, you're already in the pantheon of great American presidents, but Donald, you've got a big head, I know that. My mates and I have all got big heads, we think we're smart. Now, how we achieved that brilliant coup with the Mutual Defence Pact is by avoiding the established bureaucratic traps in the United Nations and by forming a very simple association on a military base. So a giant bureaucracy can't develop. Whatever they want to do, they can get together on that military base, but they can't build gigantic buildings and have people going to nightclubs all the time. It's serious stuff, Tom. Leave that go. It's a great idea. Now, let's look at the inner cities of the USA and let us think. Donald, if the inner city, if say you were the CEO of a large pizza organisation and every one of your inner cities and your poor rural areas had pizzas that were ranked 28th in the world for this and 20th in the world for this and 22nd in the world for this, what would you do? Well, you'd look at them and think, wow, this mob are ripe for the picking. You would put a headland pizza joint in every one of those places and it'd be a beauty. It'd have the world's best pizzas. You'd flog them. And then, as soon as that was established, you'd put another one in and another one. But you wouldn't go near. You wouldn't attempt to take over a bit of the old one because their methods are crap and they're obsolete. You don't need them. Because Donald, you're in modern times, you've got to think fast and you've got to move fast and you can't let obsolete morons push you into ancient solutions, okay? Well, would you buy a chain of video stores today? Of course you wouldn't, because they're dying like flies because of all the streaming you can do on phones, okay? So, you're up with modern times. Now, let's look at the quickest and best way to upgrade your inner cities. Now, let's look at the differences between President Bush, President Obama and you. You're all from wealthy backgrounds. You all went to top schools and universities. You all lived in safety, whether it's in gated communities or very quiet communities where there's never any trouble. Now, if you want to be the greatest domestic president of all time, you have to provide conditions in the inner cities where the average child, the normal child, the poor child has access to the best education and to live in safe surroundings and to get great health facilities, etc. Now, if you achieve this dream, of equal opportunity in the USA, you will by definition, in conjunction with what you've done internationally with defence, you will be up there with the FDRs. You'll be up there with the very, very best of US presidents. Now, this stuff isn't hard to do if you avoid the bureaucracy. Now, President Obama talked about hope and change. This isn't a political speech. You're the bloke who's given them enormous hope now. Let's talk about change. Now, don't touch the vast bureaucracy of the inner cities. Here is a new and fresh approach. The best thing you can do if you want to upgrade a cattle herd fast is to buy new and better bulls. The best thing you can do for the people of the inner cities is firstly give their children access to brilliant education. Now, The best education obtainable in the US, I suppose, I'm not a US citizen, is the best of the private schools, the best of the top public high schools in the more affluent areas, and at university levels, the Yales, the Harvards, the MITs, etc. Yeah, well, that's quite true, but the best educational institutions of the US internationally are Apple, Facebook, Google, Amazon, all those brilliant companies that are working worldwide and have billions and billions and billions of cash worldwide that they can't bring back to the US because of their present company structure. Now, you're out of the deal, Donald. You're a deal maker. We can see no reason why you can't deal with those companies to bring their money back. Maybe they can contribute to your plans for replacing America's infrastructure, which is brilliant. They can't contribute, I doubt, to your upgrading your defence force, which is brilliant, but only a short-term solution. Unless you buy, because any loopy left-wing president can run your defence force down again. But once you're locked in with the world's free nations, that's not possible, because everyone will have to spend at least 2% of their GNP on defence. That's part of what you bring in when you get your nations together. Now, when you look at it, if you could bring the money back very cheaply taxed with all these people like Amazon and Google and everything, so long as they establish a brilliant technical high school in every one of these deprived inner cities. A technical high school that puts maths, physics, etc. at the very top, because it's what the USA needs and it's what the people of the inner city deserve, that their children will have access to brilliant education. Now, this immediately lifts their hearts, lifts their spirits. Even if they live in poverty, they have a way out for their children, because education is the way out for their children. Okay, now, you don't deal with this bureaucracy yourself. You get these companies together and say, look, you can call it Apple High, Google High, whatever, we don't care. But we have to establish these there, and you will deal with the councils, you will establish them. And as a president who always tries to think of the economy, you don't need to build vast buildings where politicians have photo opportunities. That's all crap, very 20th century. What you do cleverly with those big companies is you get them big warehouses, disused factories, anything, convert them into schools, and convert them into schools with rigorous standards, and you will immediately improve your inner cities. You'll improve them a hell of a lot just by this one simple thing. And any child in those poor areas has access to that top school, plus any other child in the state or elsewhere in the USA from a poor background can attend that high school if he or she passes the rigorous exams. You could even give a voucher system to the very poorest people in the USA so their children can go to a school like that, which may need a little bit, or any private school where money's... This is the most important thing you can do for education in the USA, because you're not mixing with the rotten bureaucracy, the left-wing bureaucracy that runs schools, the teachers' union, the people who are content to keep their fat asses in jobs while the children are 28th in the world in maths, etc., etc., etc. Just leave them alone, because sooner or later those schools will have to match up, or they will slowly dwindle and die, as the United Nations will slowly dwindle and die if they don't lift their game. So this is our first proposal to you, and we think it's a brilliant proposal because internationally you can do that very fast with all the good nations to form the Defence Pact, and there's no reason why you can't do this very fast. You say you want to get things in a hurry. Donald, why don't you start with this also? with these schools. They're not only brilliant technically, you want your children to exercise every morning all over the USA, because if they exercise for 13 years of their life, they might exercise the whole life, which is brilliant for your medical costs of your whole society. And these children should do 20 minutes exercise every morning of their life, as probably should everyone in the USA. Why wouldn't you get someone famous like Michael Jordan, who's a billionaire I gather, or Shark O'Neal, or someone that the whole country looks up to? Why wouldn't you get someone like that to do an exercise program either on TV or just do a video for the children of the world? Why wouldn't you make him an ambassador for youth sport, a special ambassador for youth sport in the USA? Why wouldn't you think creatively like that? All right. Also, the other thing that children must learn in that school, they must learn anatomy. We're not talking about sex education. That's for older children and a compact between parents and school. But if you think about such problems as drug addiction and alcoholism, why aren't children being taught from primary school level about what a beautiful, delicate instrument their body is, how eating a terrible diet affects their heart, how all illegal substances damage their brain, and have explained to them the complexity of the brain and how beautiful it is and how easily it can be damaged? Because, Donald, this stuff works. In Australia, something like 75% of the population smoked 50, 60 years ago. Now it's 15%. And education made the difference. Making cigarettes expensive helped, of course, but it's the little kids coming home from school saying, "Mummy, I don't want you to die." That's the reason that smoking has gone down. And so much good can be done at the primary and secondary school level so cheaply. If your children are exercising, and if they know stuff about their anatomy, they know about drugs and alcohol, this is brilliant stuff, and it's cheap stuff. And wouldn't someone like Michael Jordan just love to be involved like that? After all, what's a billionaire famous sportsman going to do for the rest of his life? It's just a thought. But that's what we'd like to see happen in your schools, and that would be a finger in the eye of the Democrats. But don't look at it like that. Look at it as fairness. If you can produce fairness in your inner cities, Donald, you're well on the way to becoming one of the greatest presidents of all time. Thank you so much for listening. That is our new approach, and it's an approach that avoids the established bureaucracy. You let the big companies deal with the established bureaucracy. They're good at that sort of thing, Donald. You've got better things to do. Thanks for listening to us. This is the boys signing off. Bye.